right, everyone, welcome back. We're diving deep today, really deep, into some fascinating stuff. You guys sent in some seriously interesting material on generative AI and LLMs.
Yeah, this is really cutting edge.
It is. I mean, we're talking AI that can create things, not just analyze data, but actually compose music,
Right.
write scripts, generate art. It's
wild, yeah.
It's mind-blowing. It really is a whole new world. So I guess to kick things off,
Sure.
we should probably start with the basics.
Yeah.
For anyone who's maybe, just tuning in for the first time. What exactly are generative AI and LLMs? Those terms get thrown around a lot.
Yeah, they do. Well, think of generative AI as like the big umbrella term. It's any AI that can create new content.
Okay.
Anything from, text, images, music, even code.
So it's not just like crunching numbers or sorting data anymore. It's actually making stuff.
Exactly. It's like the AI is becoming an artist or a writer.
Right.
In a way.
That's kind of freaky, right?
It is a little bit, yeah. But also super exciting.
Okay, so where do LLMs fit into all of this?
So LLMs, or large language models, they're a specific type of generative AI that focus specifically on human language.
Okay, so they're like the wordsmiths
Exactly.
of the AI world.
Yeah. They can understand and generate human language in a way that we haven't really seen before.
I mean, we've had things like chatbots and language translators for a while now.
Right. But this is different.
What makes LLMs so much more advanced?
It all comes down to how they're trained. LLMs are trained on these massive data sets of text and code, like huge amounts of data.
Gosh.
And this allows them to learn the nuances of human language, the grammar, the syntax, the subtleties.
So it's not just about spitting out words. It's about understanding how those words fit together to actually communicate meaning.
Exactly. And that's why the output from LLMs can be so impressive. You read something, you're like, wait, a machine wrote this?
Yeah. Like in the source material, it talks about LLMs producing human quality output.
Right. And that's really the mind-blowing part. We're talking about machines that can write poems, scripts, even news articles that are often indistinguishable from something a human would create.
Okay, seriously. How do they do that? It feels like magic.
It's not magic, though it can feel that way. It all boils down to pattern recognition.
Patterns.
Yeah. These LLMs are fed tons of data.
Right.
And they use really complex algorithms to identify patterns and relationships within that data.
Okay, so it's like if you show a child a bunch of pictures of cats,
Right.
they eventually learn to recognize what a cat looks like.
Exactly. And LLMs do the same thing, but with language. They see tons of examples of how words are used together, and they start to learn the patterns. They learn what makes a sentence grammatically correct, what makes a story compelling.
So it's all about finding those underlying structures in language.
Yep. And once the LLM has learned the patterns, it can use that knowledge to generate new text that follows those same patterns.
So like if you give an LLM a prompt, like write a short story about a robot who falls in love with the toaster.
Exactly. The LLM would then take that prompt and use its knowledge of language and storytelling to create a completely original story.
Wow. That's crazy. So it's not just like copying and pasting or rehashing old stuff?
Nope. It's actually creating something new based on what it's learned.
So it's like, it's almost like it's like thinking.
It's a form of artificial creativity, in a way.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Now, the source we got, it mentions that this is an iterative process. What does that even mean?
Good question. Iterative just means that the learning process is ongoing. The LLM is constantly being fed new data.
Okay.
And it uses that data to refine its understanding of language. So it's like a cycle of, prediction, feedback, and then refinement.
It's always getting smarter.
Exactly. With each iteration, the model gets better at generating more accurate, more creative output. And that's why we're seeing such rapid progress in this field.
It's mind-blowing. The speed at which this technology is developing is just incredible. I mean, even just reading through the source material. I know. It talks about some pretty amazing real-world applications.
Oh, yeah. The potential here is huge. I mean, we're already seeing LLMs being used to generate marketing copy.
Yeah.
Write news articles, translate languages, even compose music.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get more sophisticated from here on out.
Absolutely. And that's what makes it so exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Who knows what we'll be able to do with this technology in 5-10 years?
The source mentions a few really interesting examples, like using LLMs in healthcare to analyze medical records.
Right. Imagine an LLM that can sift through millions of patient records and identify patterns that human doctors might miss. It could be revolutionary for diagnosing diseases.
It could be life-saving, honestly.
Exactly. Or think about personalized treatment plans based on a patient's genetic makeup. The possibilities are endless.
And beyond healthcare, I was reading about how LLMs could be used in education.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine personalized learning experiences for every student.
Tailored to their specific needs. And the content could be so much more engaging.
Yeah. It's like, forget textbooks, bring on the AI tutors.
Right. It could completely transform how we learn.
It really feels like we're on the cusp of something huge here. But of course, with any powerful technology, there are going to be some challenges.
Of course, yeah. There are always concerns. I mean, one of the big ones is bias in the data.
Right.
The LLMs are only as good as the data they're trained on.
So if the data is biased, the output could be biased too.
Exactly. And that could have real-world consequences, especially in areas like healthcare or criminal justice.
That's a really good point. It's like we can't just blindly trust these machines. We have to be aware of their limitations.
Right. We need to be critical thinkers, and we need to make sure that these models are being developed and used responsibly.
It's not just about what they can do.
Right.
It's about how we choose to use them.
Exactly. It's a powerful tool, but it needs to be used ethically. This is about the future of society, not just about tech.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about what generative AI and LLMs are, how they work, and the incredible potential they hold.
Yeah. It's been a wild ride.
It has. And it's clear that this is just the beginning. As these models continue to evolve.
I know. Who knows what's next?
Right. It's both exciting and a little bit daunting.
Yeah, you got that right.
So to our listeners out there, we want to hear from you. What aspects of this deep dive were most intriguing? What questions did this spark for you? Keep exploring, keep learning. This stuff is changing the world as we speak, and it's up to all of us to stay informed and engaged.